Welcome to another Demarcation Media Blokees review. Today we have the Transformers 1 Classic Class Optimus Prime. This is one I have been looking forward to for quite a while, and we are going to get a nice, good look at all of his details today. Huge thank you to Blokees for sending this along. If you want to get this figure or any other figures, I will put links down in the description. There will also be a link to the Blokees Discord server, so you should definitely join that. News pops up there all the time. Giveaways run there, so you should definitely join. Let's get a closer look at this box. As always, the Blokees graphic designers have gone over and above. The whole box is shiny, as is usual for Blokees Classic Class figures. We got the Blokees logo up there. We have a very Cybertron-looking Autobot symbol, Optimus in a bit of a power pose. There's lots of texture back there. See Classic Class. There's a little QR code. There's the whole thing needing no tools. We got some lights around the side. We get to see Optimus and his accessories, the Matrix there. And there's Optimus up close. We get to see the symbol again. And around the back, we get a little blurb about him, which is pretty cool. And then all of the runners. So we're going to build this. I built this live. So if you want to go rewatch that, I'll put the card up in the corner, and then we'll come back as soon as he's put together. And there he is, all put together. The build was honestly fantastic. These Blokees Classic Class figures just keep getting better and better with each iteration. This felt like a real proper model kit, but without any of the confusion that Gundam sometimes gets. Gundam can sometimes get a little overcomplicated depending on the grade that you get. This was like building a high grade, but with some real grade level details and color separation, and it is fantastic. Again, highly recommend you go watch the replay of the build because it's good. Or just go buy one yourself and put it together and find out. So let's go ahead and jump in with some size comparisons. All right, so we're going to start off with one everybody knows. Everybody knows Lego minifigures. There's a Lego Iron Man. That's about how high he comes, slightly lower than the knee. We're going to bring in a Mega figure about to the knee. That looks honestly really cool. And then I wanted to bring in the first Classic Class because they've improved so much. Although even still, this first Classic Class figure still, he's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. But look at that. He's a lot shorter. Tons more mechanical detail. But again, this is the sleeker Cybertron design. But yeah, look at that. He's so much smaller. So much smaller. Look how far they've come. And I did want to drop in my favorite Classic Class figure. He's slightly smaller, just slightly. And then I wanted to drop in the Galaxy version G1 Optimus because he's the OG. That's what he looks like. Not bad. Obviously shorter. And then here is Galaxy version Optimus. Again, a lot shorter. And I felt like dropping an Orion would be good because I feel like that size difference is good, like between the minors and the cogged version. So that's pretty cool. And then lastly, a bit of a size comparison in terms of like actually a size that people might know and recognize. That is the Mandalorian Black Series Flame Trooper. So he stands a bit taller. So this is a 6-inch figure. I guess that makes him roughly 5 inches if I were to just eyeball it. So I would say it's a pretty solid size. I like that particular size. It's not too big, not too small, just kind of right in the middle. Let's talk details and articulation. Detail-wise, this might be some of Blokees' best work. Now, obviously, he has less detail than something like, say, Bayverse Prime because he's just a bit sleeker. But we do have the like ridge detailing on the shoulders. We have color separation all over. So see the silver and gray down in the legs? That is color separated. We have some print on the groin piece, print underneath there. There is a matrix inside of his chest, which can be removed Basically, you kind of have to disassemble the chest if you want it removed. It counts as an accessory, but it's a bit of a pain. Also, the edges are a bit thin, so I honestly would not remove it, to be completely frank with you. But you can open and close that. Around the back, we have plenty of detail. The red color is kind of a metallic-y finish. The blue is an even nicer metallic finish. And then we have silver for the face, and then a kind of bronze silver for the rest of the silver bits, which is so much better than the ugly tan that Hasbro chose to go with. So that's a huge plus. And then in terms of articulation, these can move out, so we can get a full hinge like that. There's a 90-degree bend at the elbow. I did hear some people saying that that was a little bit disappointing. I'm not really disappointed with that because that's pretty much standard for Blokees figures. And with the way Prime is designed, I don't really know how they would have done anything different. You do get a swivel here. The wrists can go way far this direction, which is a little weird, but it's a bit limited in the other directions. Same with the fist. You can go way far that way, but not much there. You do get a rotation at the waist, which I find to be a bit too loose for my liking. I'll probably have to tighten that. But his head can look up about that far, down about that far, obviously side to side, and you can get some tilt. Not bad. Now, this is the big complaint part that I've seen people saying. These little skirt bits are not on a ball joint. They really, really should have been on a ball joint. That would have made everything better, but instead they're on a weird little hinge. So when you bring the legs up too far, it starts shoving it off the peg. And then if you rotate this while it's hinged too far up, you will just straight up lose your skirting armor, which, yeah, that's not ideal. It really, really should have been on a ball joint. You do get a swivel here. You can also swivel here. And that's important because if you want to get the leg up further, you swivel it here, move it up so you get this weird like outward movement, but then you can just rotate the leg like that. So you can get the leg up pretty high if you do the rotating of the thigh. It's a little bit janky, but it does work. Also, I've been asking for slightly more than 90-degree knee bend from Blokees for a while, and they have in fact done that. Right here it's about 90, but if you rotate here, then it goes a bit past. So that feels really good. Also, oh yeah, that's nice. Having the plate on there, that's good. Backwards movement for the foot, that's pretty good. Forward is all right, and side to side is all right. So I could maybe ask for more, but it's not too bad. So all told, I think you're going to be able to get most poses pretty well. Again, the main bit is at the hips. Now let's talk accessories, because we have actually kind of a lot for a classic class figure. Typically we don't get that many accessories, but we have one of those Cybertron guns on this side. You've got kind of a peg hole, which I am curious, does it fit? No, it's not really. It's just, I guess, molding. This silver, there's separate pieces. I did want to bring in the Galaxy version one because I did want to show, I found it weird that the barrel of this one is flat while this one's hollow. Maybe it's because of the way that they did this with this piece, you know, being removable. I do think having an actual barrel or something would have been nice, but on this side we do get a bit of print there. Looks pretty good in Optimus's hands. You know, it's nicely detailed, works well. And then, of course, we need his axe. This is really cool because it's got yellow on the edges, so it's blue and then they like tinted the edges yellow. It kind of becomes a bit of a green color, but I think that looks sick. It's got plenty of nice detailing on it. It just pegs in where his hand would go, so you get a little bit of articulation at the wrist. So that's cool. You get, whoa, I'm throwing it. You get extra hands. So you get a pair of open hands and a pair of fist hands. And I think these open hands, despite having some of the webbing in there, don't look as bad as the Bayverse Prime's open hands. Surprisingly, you get an alternate faceplate. This is unmasked Optimus Prime, which is pretty cool. However, there's no easy way to put this on, so you kind of have to dismantle his whole head to be able to put it on. So you kind of have to choose. Do you want masked or unmasked Prime? And I would have liked to see a more, I don't know, just more of an expression on here. And then the stand. So Blokees has gone to using this molded stand for like all of their Classic Class figures now. They actually have the Blokees logo on there, and you get these add-on effect pieces, which I have not gotten one of these yet. They did include them with the Rise of the Beast line, but holy moly, they look so cool. You get a big one and a small one. You can pop them into the stud there if you want. You can move them all around. It very much looks like the Energon flowing back up, so you can kind of do it like that. That's super cool. I absolutely love that. It looks, I don't know, it just, something about it just works really, really well. One final note, I tried sticking this head onto the Galaxy version just because I thought it would be kind of funny, and it did make a very minor crack appear. You can see that lighter part in the translucent plastic. So I would not recommend popping and swapping those. I don't know if this ball peg is slightly larger than this one, but just be aware. It didn't seem to affect this Optimus's head attaching onto his actual body at all, but just be aware, probably don't try and pop and swap the two. So there you have it. That is the Transformers 1 Classic Class Optimus Prime. And I have to say, Blokees definitely continues to impress with how they're improving their line. And they have proven that they are not afraid to completely overhaul their system if they need to, without losing what made their system special in the first place. So, for example, they used to just build their system around those Lego Man looking torsos, but now they've shrunk that down so that you can have more of a robust build for these Classic Class figures. In terms of proportions, I think Prime looks pretty good. I did hear some people saying that they were a little disappointed because it made him look thinner and lankier with an already thin and lanky design. I honestly don't see that. He looks pretty close to how he did in the film. I even looked up some reference images beforehand. He might be slightly less bulky in the thighs, but I prefer that because that does allow for better posing. The light up feature, I forgot to actually mention the light up feature before. It doesn't show up in my studio because my studio is so bright. But as all Classic Class figures, you can go bonk and then he will light up. I'll see if I can get some sort of photo or something to show you, which I really like. I think that's a super cool feature. That was what got me kind of hooked on Classic Class in the first place. Color-wise, pretty good. I would almost have liked to have seen the really shiny red for the red parts, but maybe that's asking for a bit too premium of a model kit here. So for the price, for what you have in terms of like needing tools and whatnot, it's really good. Like this is a very, very accessible kit. This is one of the most accessible Transformers kits I have seen, because like Flame Toys is hard to build and expensive. Yolo Park does good stuff, but they're not really model kits. They're just slightly disassembled Transformers. Or slightly disassembled action figures. So this guy, to me, checks all the boxes. My main complaint is just basically what everybody else said, and that's those hip skirts could have been done better. Like, that just needed a ball joint. Just a ball joint would have made everything so much better, because then they could have tilted forward and back. Other than that, great figure. I highly recommend it. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.